All right, all right. Welcome to the Lads Lounge with JimmyG. I'm sitting here with Lurch, and we were talking about old times. And welcome to the show, my friend.
Good.
You're here.
What's up? Zoned out there for a second.
Yeah. All right. So I designed a few questions. I don't know if they'll work, but we'll try them out and see. So one of the things I was curious about, like, what was your early childhood like before you became punk rock, before you got into the scene, before you started doing all the crime and the drugs and all the crazy shit?
I grew up like in I guess a middle class family. My dad was a tile setter. My mom was a receptionist. Grew up in the West San Fernando Valley. I was only child, so I pretty much was under the microscope from my dad all the time. So I couldn't get away with a lot of stuff. But my childhood was okay. I think most of my problems was I was kind of antisocial, and I was a very short, fat kid up until I hit about 13, 12,
Yeah.
13 years old.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so like I was the kid that got picked on in school.
Yeah,
and
me
shit.
too. Me
And
too.
then I just was like I was kind of a fucked up kid, man.
Yeah. I was the same way, man. I was like a little dumpling with a lot of acne and fat.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until probably, yeah, like you say, 12, somewhere around there, all of a sudden you shot a couple of inches over summer, and then things kind of changed. So
Yeah.
what changed once that happened?
Yeah, one of the things that was kind of funny was I was having so many problems in school, getting picked on, was having just problems. I had gotten kicked out of Pinecrest
Mm.
I had like a little operation going on there. And stuff. One of the custodians was leaving the school, and he gave me his key ring with all the keys on it to every single classroom and everything. And so I had a business going on where I was selling people teachers the answers to all the tests and shit. I had access to like lost and found, so I was like stealing shit
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And then I got caught and kicked out of school.
Oh,
And
shit.
then I ended up going to Hughes Junior High for a very brief amount of time, and I got kicked out of there intentionally and stuff. And then I ended up at Ranch, but so like I grew. So my parents were kind of done with me. They're like, you're fucking up, so they sent me to go live with my grandfather.
Oh, did they?
I lived with him for about 6 months to straighten me up. I did like construction,
Oh, wow.
roofing,
Where was he at?
Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
Oh.
So I was out there, and at that time I grew like a foot. I came back and was in good shape, and I literally went after all the bullies that people fuck with me.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But yeah, I mean,
I remember like having other friends that were also picked on. Like I had a clan of those type of, odd bodies that were all kind of picked on. And then I remember getting some size. I took like Hapkido karate and stuff. My parents were like, oh, you should get into something. So that's what I did. And then like, I remember one of my friends getting picked on. And I'm like, oh no, I'm not having this today. So I remember beating up the bullies. So I became sort of like a bully's bully.
yeah,
And I would pick them out, man. I mean, would just go after them and shit. I didn't have any fucking recourse after a while.
yeah. Same with me. In fact, there's this. I'll tell you a story. There's this guy named Freddie Unger that we ended up being friends on Facebook like years ago because he knew some other people that I knew. Anyhow, so he was this kid that used to pick on me at Pinecrest, and one day I was like walking down Shoop, and he comes riding down the sidewalk on his bicycle and shit, and I punched him, knocked him off his bicycle, and threw his bike out in the middle of the street. A fucking bus like ran over it and shit in front of me.
Oh, shit.
And I just was like, fuck it. And that was like another person I just went after,
Yeah. I went through those. There was a kid that lived up the street, and I remember like it's a certain age. He was bigger than me and older than me, and he was always kind of pushing me around, and he kind of pushed around most of the kids in the block. And it was probably about the time I started getting into punk rock. I had this friend, John Villa, and we'd come back, and they were playing out in the front yard, and it just turned into a spectacle fight where, like, I just literally beat his ass, chasing him up the street, you know, and I the same thing, man, same thing. I don't understand, like, looking back, it's like, why other motherfuckers always had to fucking fuck with somebody else. You know, I just don't understand the kick
Yeah,
of
you
that,
know,
but
the thing that really changed my mind, it was like, I had come back from Colorado, so I was now probably around a little over 6 foot at this point. And so I was like, now I was like a tall kid in school. So there was this kid that was picking on me. He lived a few blocks away, and he used to follow me home for some reason. Him and his friends used to follow me home. I came home one day, and they followed me home. My dad happened to be home early that day, and he was in the garage cleaning his bike to go ride the next day. And I come into the garage. I said, and they're across the street from me, like staring me down. And my dad's like, pick up the bat, go beat the fuck out of them, you know. And I'm like, he just looked at me like that, like matter of factly, you know.
yeah.
And so I grabbed my baseball bat that was sitting there, and I literally just ran across the street, ran at them screaming. The kid that used to pick on me, like, fell off his bike and ran, leaving his bike there.
Yep.
And they took off, and my dad's like, okay, bring the bike. It's your bike now. And we put it in the garage. And then, like, a couple days later, I think it was like Sunday, the father comes up to get the son's bike back, and, like, he comes pulling up, like, he's, like, kind of confronting my dad, and then, like, literally while he's talking to my dad, these 3 Hells Angels pull up in our driveway. And, like, the father, like, all of a sudden the guy realized he was in a really shitty situation. And after that, I just realized, I was like, you know, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, if you just come at people, they're a lot of times they're just gonna fucking.
So we need to add into the story. So your father he rode from the 1950s or late 40s.
Late 40s. Yeah.
And he knew everybody in this valley pretty much. I mean, I used to ride bikes, and I would go to the rock store, and everybody knew him.
Yeah.
I mean, because I knew him, other people say, "Hey, where's Norm?" You know, or is Norm coming? I'm sure he's on his way. He was always there. I remember I could literally time the clock. I'd get up on a Saturday morning and look outside my door, and at 8 a.m., he'd be ripping down the road on his Harley.
Yeah.
So he just knew everybody, and that's the explanation of the connection with the Hells Angels and stuff.
Yeah, my dad, he was got his first motorcycle in 1941 while his brother was off in the Flying Tigers, and sold his brother's car to buy a motorcycle. He rode that around. He went into he did his time in the Merchant Marines. When he got back, he ended up in a motorcycle gang in Burbank called Galloping Gooses, or Galloping Goose, I think they were, MC. And from there, he was friends with Satan Slaves and Hells Angels. When I was a kid, we always had Hells Angels at our house.
Yeah, those people hanging around.
You know, yeah.
That
was a trip.
Kind of a norm. Kind of a norm. No, I hear you, man. So, what was it that got you into punk rock? Was it that feeling of being on the outside from other things that you mentioned? Like you mentioned, you were kind of, an outsider in a big way and sort of a misfit kid in a sense.
Yeah, I was kind of into music back then. I had a good friend of mine, Rick Falco. He was my neighbor. We used to listen to bands. His parents were really into music. My parents were not really into music, so when I was hanging at Rick's house, we were always listening to bands, listening to stuff. A lot of the early 70s, late 60s stuff they were playing, And then I was really good friends with this guy, Paul Truman, at school, and Matt Bird, and we all got into Kiss. We were huge Kiss fans. Yeah. Paul Truman's dad, I think, was one of the managers of Boston band.
Okay.
And so we ended up going to shows and I'd seen Kiss and things like that with these guys. So Paul's family was from England, and every summer he used to go to England. So it was the summer of '79, I think it was. He came back from England and brought me back a bunch of records. And he brought me back The Clash, Sex Pistols, Specials, and Madness. And they were all promotional radio station copies.
Yeah.
And I still got them.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
and so then we got into mod. Like that's what I chose.
Yeah.
Out of the combination of punk records
Yeah.
and mod records, we kind of went mod. So there's a period of time I was like wearing like suits to school. My mom,
Oh,
my
wow.
parents thought I was crazy. That's when I started cutting my hair really short, and you know, I'll fully admit it. I had a tail and shit.
Guilty as charged. I did the same thing.
Right.
But I had one. I remember having one in the front and one in the back, like a thing coming down in the front of your
Yeah.
hair, like a big tail in the front and a tail in the back.
So I mean, you know, it was the late '70s, whatever. You know, we're different and stuff. And then I don't know. It's just like I just remember I went and bought the album on Black Flag, Nervous Breakdown,
Mhm.
which came out in '79.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what made me like, oh man, I fucking love punk.
Yep.
And
I bought that at the Tower Records on Sunset
mhm.
because they used to be open like 2 in the morning.
Right.
So we went to like my uncle had taken me to a movie, and then after he's let's stop at the store, and at the end of like the you know how they had like at the end of an aisle, the whole aisle was with those EPs and just like a big display. I mean, like it was a display, you know, which I thought, wow, and I bought it immediately, took it home, started listening to it.
Yeah, so I think it was part of that. I was going to the ranch school, and Paul, and then it was Mark Van Sloten, our coach. He taught some classes there. He was into that music
Yeah.
and stuff, and it was kind of, and Randy, and it was kind of like this, just hearing all these punk bands and stuff, and it was like, you know, the early Circle Jerks, Black Flag, you know, a lot of the late '70s stuff. Plus, listen to like, you know, I used to Dr. Demento, and Dr. Demento
You know-
used to play
Yeah.
like he would play stuff like the Suburban Lawns,
Yeah.
or he played, you know, like just different stuff. Along
I remember
with
listening to Dr. Demento and having a lot of weird friends
Mhm.
who were like, you know, what we call, or I think is really what's called the pre-punk hippie era,
Right.
where they were kind of weird and kind of goofy and listened to weird songs on the radio.
Right, right.
And then every Monday it'd be, oh, did you hear, or whatever, the night after his show, it'd be, oh, did you hear this song? And they would do it in the quad, you know, fish heads, roly-poly fish heads and shit like this. But yeah, I mean, I think that was weird. A lot of those people became punks. A lot of them did.
You know, the thing is like once I was listening to music that wasn't the mainstream, you know, in '79, it was kind of weird. Like we had this neighbor across the street. He built recording consoles, custom recording consoles, and he did the consoles for Dave Grohl's what's the place that he has over in the real famous place, Sound City.
Oh, Sound City.
Yeah, so he built some of the consoles in Sound City. And so he's a well-known engineer that used to build these custom consoles and stuff. And he also used to do recording and used to work on albums and stuff. And so once he started hearing that I was listening to like odd music, he would turn me on to stuff too.
Yeah.
And he used to have bands at his house because they were working on stuff. And at his house, I hung out with Deborah Harry.
Oh, wow.
Deborah Harry and like 2 people from the band were at his house one time going over something, and he would call me over when bands would come by to talk to him. And I met them, and I met the singer for the Talking Heads. What's his name?
David Byrne.
Yeah, David Burns. David Byrne. Yeah.
David Byrne.
Anyhow, he was there one time. I was talking to him, and this guy also did the Mentors first music video.
Oh, funny.
Like he was the guy that put that helped put that together
Yeah.
and stuff. So it was kind of all that stuff kind of coming together at the same time. And for me, it was like it was different. Like I always did things different. Like I didn't want to do what society told you to do. I wanted to do the stuff that looked interesting, the stuff that
You wanted to cut your path and do it your own
Yeah.
way. You
and
know,
punk was
punk
was that, man. Punk was so different than everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
And I loved all the rock and stuff that I'd listened to before, punk rock. I still do now. It was the fundamentals, you know, of things. But like, punk was just, I mean, dude, it was just a whole other animal that kind of made it so like, it made you feel like I could do it. You know? I mean, I certainly would never think by listening to Rush or Led Zeppelin, like, I'm going to pull out my guitar and start learning, you know, that. But
was a lofty goal.
But yeah, right?
Yeah.
Where like, oh, I could play some Ramones tunes. I
Yeah.
can play some Black Flag. I probably could, do
You
some,
learn like three chords.
and next thing you know, then you lead from there, and then oh, I'm not even gonna fucking play other people's music. I'm just gonna fucking play fucking noise and music and see where it goes, you
Yeah.
know. So
I mean, the punk scene back then was kind of interesting because everybody a lot of people I knew in the punk scene, or I started to meet back then, we were all kind of the outcasts.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of like, even if you weren't talking about it, you all knew you were kind of on the same plane.
yeah, I
From the
mean,
jocks,
there was
yeah.
some sort of intimate connection with people. Like you knew when you'd meet someone who was a brother
Yeah.
and a friend because, like, they were maybe going through the same thing with their family at home or whatever it was, you know.
Because all the people who listened to like Zeppelin, because there was a lot of Zeppelin hits
Yeah.
back then.
That's what everybody listened to. I mean,
Yeah,
they were the biggest
I mean-
band in America at that time, I think.
That's like listening to Beyonce now.
Yeah.
Or something, because it was the big thing. I mean,
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
I mean, they had airplay, they had giant fucking concerts.
Mhm.
It was just, and punk was like, everybody hated punks. That's what I
Yeah,
loved about it.
yeah.
I mean,
You know what I liked about punk in the olden days was that a band would play and they get off the stage and you would just hang out with them. And now people don't understand is that you don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore. So when they play now, they go back into their little sequestered area and they're not a part of the crowd. And back in those days, members of Black Flag would play and then they'd be fucking hanging out next to us.
yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
and you had access to all those people. We were just all hanging out together. But now I think it's the money and fame and things of that nature. Like you're not going backstage, and they're not coming out in front and hanging out. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's funny. I went to I saw Nirvana play in '90, whatever it is, the In Utero show at the
Yeah.
Forum. It was before he offed himself, and I had backstage passes, and I just, I was so still off. I mean, it was, 10 years when I was, like seeing these like hardcore shows and stuff. I mean, I was still seeing shows up until that point, but it was like, remembering 10 years was like a short period of time, remembering all that shit, and going backstage and seeing what's the guy from the Germs that was in that was playing
Pat
guitar?
Smear.
Yeah, Pat Smear. Like seeing Pat Smear and like all the money that was going on, and like Eddie Van Halen's back there, and Gene Simmons and all these like famous people were hanging around, and it's like they got all these like little their assistants.
It's like they all sniff money.
Yeah, it was.
They're all sniffing money. They're like, oh, we got to go out and hang out and make more money and yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'll be honest. I freaking hated Nirvana back then, and like a lot of those grunge bands, the stuff, because it was like we had this whole scene of these fucking awesome musicians and this new music genre, and then the record companies, no one wanted to touch it. The police were after us. Everything was like
The clubs shut it down.
Yeah.
Everybody was against it.
And then all of a sudden, like all these record companies were like, "Fuck, we can make money," and then they didn't want to write the old stuff, the old bands. They want to put all their money into what they found,
Sure.
that they can control.
Sure.
That they,
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm not banging on Nirvana because I think they're still a good band, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, look, man, there's tons of people that love Nirvana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know people, they love Nirvana.
Yeah.
And I just never got it. I mean, I like some of the songs I remember hearing, but I don't know. I think maybe it's where we came from, too,
Yeah, I saw them like 2 times before that In Utero show, just because they happened to be on the bill of some other bands I was watching. And I went with this guy, Mark Doyle. You know Mark Doyle. Him and I went to go see them at Raji's one time.
Okay.
And then I saw them up in San Francisco.
Well,
But I wasn't there to see them.
Yeah.
They just happened to be there.
yeah.
You know.
It's on their rise at that
Yeah.
point. Wow. Well, shit. Back in those days, I mean, we'd always see fights. I mean, shit, man. I mean, I don't know if you remember or not, and I don't know if you were even there or not, but you've heard the term curb bite, right?
Oh yeah,
Curb, right?
well,
I saw guys take a guy and throw his face into the curb right there at the corner there by just across the street from the Whiskey A Go Go.
Well,
They literally picked him up, like each guy had a limb each, and just kind of threw him into the curb, and all of his teeth knocked out.
John Macias did a curb bite on a guy down there on
Really?
right there, right at the whiskey. I wonder if that was the
It
time.
might have been. I maybe
Yeah,
just don't remember. And another time, well, I tell you, I'm walking out of Turner's Liquor, and we had just scored some beer, and we look, and all of a sudden you hear commotion, and the Great Western Bank was next, like right across the street, and in an upper parking level, and a guy goes flying off the fucking roof, the parking structure, and hits the ground. Boom!
Oh yeah, right on. That's Sunset, right?
Yeah, right on.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
that.
you were
Yeah,
okay. You were there,
yeah,
and then
oh.
we ran up the hill to see who was in the parking lot. Who was there? John Macias.
Yeah.
The guy liked throwing people off of things. You know, I don't know what to say about that other than, wow, yeah. But I remember, we walked out and literally saw some guy go, boom.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we got to go up there and see what's going on. And there was still a little scuffle going on, but the bigger scuffler got thrown off the.
Yeah. Were we down there? Was that the Black Flag? Was that when Black Flag was playing down at the what do you call the federal building? When it was that weed.
Oh, that was a different time
that was a different
altogether.
time?
Yeah, that was. This is like on Sunset. I think it
we were
was.
down there for something, but because it was daytime, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, the one at.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would have at the federal building. They had a deal where like they would have punk concerts there, and they promote them as I don't know like anti-war or cannabis legalization or give it some reason I guess so they could basically have shows there. So yeah, they used to have a bunch of different shows there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was down there one time for the weed legalization one. Because I remember we got on the property and they were handing people joints.
Yeah.
And Black Flag played.
It was like,
and
wait,
Verb.
like this is the federal building, but they're fucking smoking weed.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fights, like, yeah, you know, I've seen a lot of bad fights, but I think the one that I, like, really just looked bad, we were at a lads meeting down at Poinsettia Park.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was a Poinsettia Park, and Alex had gotten jumped. I think Alex was with some girl, and they got jumped by some street guys, and we were all talking about it, and Alex was trying to figure out, we were trying to figure out where this guy is, where we could find this guy that, you know, jumped him and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the lads comes rolling up on his skateboard. He's like, the dude's sleeping on a bench over there.
Oh wow.
And so I thought you were there, but I know I was there with Doyle.
Yeah, I might not have been there.
Yeah.
I don't think I remember relaying the story and telling people about the story, but I don't think I was actually there. I think I was out of town or something.
So we all, there's literally like, there was like 30 of us there at the park.
Yeah.
And so like,
And that's the reason why Poinsettia Park ended.
that's why I saw, that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so figure this, daytime, Sunday, probably around noon, 30 of us go walking through the park. This guy's sound asleep on a bench.
Boy, what a
Everybody
shitty wake-up
quietly
call.
circles around the guy. And Doyle and I look at each other. We're like, yeah, we're not going to be part of this. Just because we're like, there's already too many guys.
Yeah.
Him and I stand back. Alex taps on the guy's shoulder. The guy wakes up, and all he does is go, ah! Like
Holy
that.
shit.
And then they just, like, brutalize this guy.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And Doyle and I are standing there talking. This black guy and his family are there, and they're kids. And the black guy walks up to us and says, what's going on? We told him what happened. And he goes, well, that guy deserved it. And he went back to his family and just with his picnic and shit. And then that guy was unconscious on the ground.
Oh, wow.
And I know he survived, but I mean.
Well, one hopes. There were a lot of those. I mean, I remember Oliver telling me the same thing. He said, man, a lot of dudes I knew, or you get in fights. Oliver himself, he was like, man, how many fights I've been in where the guy's left unconscious? I don't know if that guy fucking survived or not. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know, maybe if I've read the paper, maybe I know. But that's, you know.
That was pretty brutal. I mean, the Olympic fight.
That's a whole nother fucking ball game.
Yeah,
you know?
that was a different situation.
That was a gang fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you see somebody just getting waylaid and shit, which sounds like that's kind of, I don't know.
I mean, the guy deserved it, but you know, honestly, I'm more into one-on-one fights.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not into the whole, you know, 10-on-1. I just it doesn't do anything for me. You know.
No, I hear you.
I don't know.
You know,
that was pretty bad.
It's crowd crazy. What do they call it? Mass hysteria. It just runs within the crowd, right?
Yeah. Oh. Well, the other thing, I can tell you that story about, what's his name, Bob.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
Ernest.
yeah, Ernest. So Ernest, and I don't know why. No one's ever been able to tell me. I even hit him up when he was working at a gun shop, like
Mhm.
why he had a beef against me. Because the first time I
Oh
met him was here at your house.
yeah,
You guys were in a band.
yeah. We had started a band,
Yeah.
and he'd had all this equipment here.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a beef because he came over to pick up the equipment, and I'm like, yeah, here, take the equipment. But Troy was here that day, and Troy was using his PA.
Mhm.
He's like, I'm not, like he started wanting to fight him or something right here, and I'm like, no, fuck this. So he got his shit and he left. I remember that day.
Yeah, so Ernest was sweating me all the time. He would see me, whatever like that, and always give me shit, and I could never figure out why.
It might be
was-
because of that incident, because
Okay.
we were all there at the same time and shit.
So I went to go see,
Minor threat
yes, Minor Threat,
At that-
Suicidal Tendencies at the Roller Works.
roller works. Yeah.
And he started giving me shit there.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, the fuck, dude? Okay, let's go outside. We went outside to get in a fight, and I was facing off with him, and there's the whole crowd around us, and all of a sudden, someone comes out of nowhere and just stabs Ernest.
Oh shit.
Yeah, just stabbed him right in his gut.
Oh wow!
And I
Like out
just-
by that wall that was where remember like you went out the skating rink. There was like a wall or something, and I remember it was like broken, and you'd go to the other side.
Yeah,
or
there
something.
was,
It was like
there,
something over there. I remember where we sort of used to hang around or whatever.
yeah, and some guy stabbed Ernest and stuff, and
Oh wow!
I just looked and said, okay.
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
went back.
Yeah,
But
shit.
I found out like 2 years ago who did it. I'm
Oh.
not gonna mention the name,
Yeah.
but I think I was dead now. But I
I think it was part of like the youth brigade crew, like somebody from their group maybe, but I don't know. That's what I heard years ago.
I'll
but
just say it was an old Mickey Mouse guy
oh yeah.
who later moved on to other things. But anyhow, so yeah, stabbed him and stuff, and I was like, whatever. And so I ended up seeing him years later at a gun shop, and I asked him like, well, what the fuck was with you, dude? You know? And he goes, he was working at Fireline over in Reseda. And I said, why'd you give me shit all the time back then? He goes, I don't know, I just had a lot of problems back then. You know?
Yeah.
But now he's a fucking white supremacist, I heard.
Yeah, I think that's what the case
Whatever.
is. Yeah, I don't understand that whole dichotomy.
So,
So, what do you think's the future of punk? I mean, punk's like really kind of the new rock and roll. I mean, I think it's basically replaced it now. I mean, is it not? I mean, I look around and I listen. I try to listen to everything because I just love music. But it's like there's not a lot of rock and roll out there. There's
No.
not a lot of other genres. But there's a lot of post-punk, or as they call it. I mean, are you listening to anything that?
you know, not that much. I listen to stuff here and there. I still really like the old stuff. You know, I still kind of stuck in the past. The stuff that reminds me a lot of shit.
Sure.
I do listen to bands. I saw Amyl and the Nitrates a
Oh,
few
yeah.
years ago. They're really good.
They're really kicking it. Like I just saw something. I think they were on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, just
or
like
something.
a couple weeks ago or something.
Yeah, something like that.
They're really good. I like I can't really name a lot of the bands
Yeah.
these days because I don't. Really
Have you listened to
keep up on stuff.
Fontaines DC?
Yeah, no, I've heard them.
I
I
like
do
them.
have.
I like
some of the stuff
Viagra.
I've-
I like Viagra Boys. I went and saw them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch, man. I mean, I just know that it seems like something's happening again, and that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, punk's kind of a weird thing because it's never really died and stuff like that. Because the thing about it is, it still has a do-it-yourself like attitude still. Where like
It went hot topic there for a long time. I remember
Yeah.
in the like early 2000s, but now it seems like you go to shows now and you're seeing not that. You
Right.
see a more of a variety, sort of a change up, people coming up with their own style
Yeah.
again, that kind of thing.
yeah, punk is. I mean, I could argue with the young punks nowadays, and they think it's still the same ethos and still the same thing. But I would say that punk, as a basic scene genre society thing, I would say it's different now than it was in the late 70s. Early
Punk
80s.
I think in our era just it was super cool in so many ways, but it was somewhat unlivable for many, many people.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it was violent
Mhm.
and dangerous in many cases, and that's probably with a lot of reason why people just rejected it and moved on. you
Yeah,
know.
I think punk now is definitely a lot more approachable.
Yeah.
I think it's easier for someone to get into the old punk, to learn about the history, and then see new bands that are playing now. It's more accessible. I mean, there's still the hardcore scene going on,
Mhm.
which you know, the whole crowd killing and all that shit going on.
Yeah.
That's not my thing. I know there's a lot of, you know, Hispanic punks in LA. They have these, you know,
East Los.
Yeah.
Big scene there, big ska scene there,
Yeah,
big punk
yeah.
scene there, big skinhead scene there. A lot of stuff goes on in East LA. You know, they've always embraced music from ever and ever and ever. You know, that's where fucking Slayer comes from.
Yeah.
You know,
You
right?
know, the funny thing is though, is like, I see as many punks in public these days
Yeah.
as I saw in the early 80s. I mean, there's still a lot of punks out there, but I don't see a lot of people that I can say that person's a punk.
Yeah.
Like back in the 80s, you saw something, you're like, that's a punk.
Which if we would
Nowadays,
drive
they're-
down the road and literally like just see somebody, we'd pull over and go, hey, what are you into? And like, where are you hanging out at? So I was going to get into that. So driving down the road. So a lot of people don't know, one of your first vehicles was a VW Bug,
Yeah,
I guess.
my
Beetle?
very first
Is that a Beetle Bug? Is that what
yeah,
they call that?
The 68 Bug.
Okay. And it had charisma, man. It had charisma up the ass. I mean, it was like, you know, I remember like you pulling up and it was like you had the side tinted windows and it was just a cool little white Bug, you know. I don't know. I always loved it because when I was a kid, I loved Herbie.
Uh-huh.
The fucking Love Bug.
Yeah, because it was a white.
Yeah, you know. So and then we started hanging out, and we'd roll around in the car, and so we'd walk into a record store, and remember they'd be flyers, but we fucking round into stickers, and you tell them now what the stickers that we'd round, and we fucking what were they wasted
stickers.
right?
Yeah.
And these weren't just like little stickers; some were just like a flyer size for the album cover with the Reagans.
Yeah.
Was it Reagan's In? Is
Reagan's
it
In,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what did we do? We fucking the entire Bug was fucking covered in those stickers. It was like the Wasted Youth Bug.
Yeah.
And we would drive it all over, and then like it would be in Melrose, and people would be like, "Fuck, whoa, tripping out on the Bug." I remember it just being a thing.
Yeah, you know that stupid fucking car. You know, I paid $1,600 for that thing, and it would not break down. Like, and I tried. Like that piece of shit. I can't call it a piece of shit because it kept running.
Yeah.
But I mean, that got us to like we were going to Godzilla's like
Yeah.
multiple days a week.
All
in
the
that
time.
thing. We were going to Hollywood.
All the time through the freaking canyon, over the
Everywhere. Everywhere. Melrose
right?
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, scoring drugs.
And it didn't cost shit to drive. A couple of bucks, and bam, we were loaded loaded with a tank of gas, and
Gas was what, like 80?
it was
cents?
nuts. 60, 70 cents a gallon or some crap in
Yeah.
those days.
Yeah, you could.
Remember you could go in there and you'd get like, I remember you getting a free Casio watch with like a fill-up one time
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
fucking gas station, you know, shit like, you know, like they don't give you nothing but heartache now at the gas station. Fuck,
I mean-
they just give you free gifts.
Yeah, people don't understand. It's like, I mean, fuck that car. You like everybody give like $1 that was in the car to put gas in it, and that gas got you everywhere.
Yeah.
There was no traffic on the roads.
Went to the beach in that thing.
Yeah.
Fucking, we went all over the fucking place. You know, it was like, well, I don't think we didn't do any four-wheeling. I don't think. Thank God, I don't remember doing any.
Oh, no,
Did we?
Oh, yeah.
Shit,
Over
did
here
we?
at the, what do you call it?
Oh,
Valley-
did we
the
drive
Valley
up to the
Circle.
park?
Well, we used to go through Valley. Remember Valley Circle used to be a dirt road between Roscoe, and then it would connect down by, down by what is it, the canyon over here? What is it? The place over by the dam, the wash.
Oh, like you're thinking by Chatsworth Park and
Yeah, so
shit
you
over
go.
there.
You used to go down here to the
Yeah.
end of Roscoe,
Uh-huh.
and then there would be a dirt road, and then you used to take that dirt
Oh,
road, and
that
it would take you all the way down
Mhm.
to like Lassen
Yep.
or something like that. Yeah, and it's all paved and houses now. But
Yeah.
we should drove that thing a few times.
I guess we
ago.
kind of did. So, my parents owned a hair salon, so they had these like beauty heads that
Oh, yeah.
the girls would
I know what
test.
you're gonna say.
They would test, you know, their hair or whatever. I guess their cut or whatever, or maybe it's a color. I don't know. But I absconded with one from the garage, and what we did, if you remember, we shaved its head, put a mohawk on it, maybe put blood dripping from its face. I mean, it was just hideous. And your Bug had no glove box. It
Yeah.
was just like you open the glove box, and it was the trunk. So
Right.
we had wedged it in there, and we would literally like have somebody get in the front seat, and I would purposely sit in the back so we could go, hey, could you get me some smokes from the fucking
Yeah.
glove? And they'd freak out every fucking time, like, oh my gosh, a fucking dead body in the car. But it was just, yeah, I remember that day. Boy, that was some shit, man.
Oh man, yeah,
That was a great fucking prank. I remember pulling that. We pulled that on a lot of people, man.
Yeah. I just found the picture of the bug.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was at my mom's house looking through a bunch of photos, and I found one picture of it and stuff. It must have been right around the time I got it because it didn't have any of the stickers on it, and because when I put that Waste You sticker on the side, someone pulled it off.
Oh, did they?
And you know, I don't even know if that thing was a fucking sticker. I think it was actually I think it was just a flyer, like a good flyer, because there was always an X of glue on the car. So I think I used some tile glue or something like that.
Maybe that's what we did. Maybe to hold it on because
it hold it onto the car. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just glue stuff to the car. You know, I'm like 16 years old. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just glue it to the car.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it leaves you speechless. I mean, you're right. I mean, I remember one time. Oh my Lord, dude, we were going to Melrose. And we'd already had the whole car was filled with people. Everybody, I mean, the front seats were filled. I think we were 3 people in the back, and then we pull up to a fucking at the freeway run. Yeah, we come onto the freeway or where the ramp was, and Joel Wheaton sees us all driving up in the car and goes, "Where are you going?" And we're going to Melrose. With that, he just dives into the fucking window. I'm going. And lays across all of us, and we head off to go. But the best part was we were driving and coming off the Highland ramp, and we were listening to, maybe we had a tape player in there or something, and we were pogoing, and the fucking car like literally came off the ground because I guess we hit a bump as well, and it literally goes whoa, and then hits the ground and goes and you go, that's it, fucking stop! You lost it, man. You fucking lost your mind. Yeah. And everyone in the car just like it was like. Kids in the car with their parent were like,
That was the Sunset off-ramp off of the 405.
Oh my God.
We were cutting through Sunset. I don't know why we went that direction. We were cutting through Sunset going down to Melrose.
My Lord, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I remember there was a bump or some shit going over that ramp, and we were pogoing at the same time, and fucking thing, boom!
I think you were in the car, but it was totally raining, and Olga was in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was you and Olga, and someone else was in the car, and we were going down Van Owen there by Topanga, and someone pulled out in front of me, and I went out of control.
Yes.
And the car like spun and then went right in between these two cars perfectly.
Like you literally like locked the brakes, and it just sort of slid, and slid right down in between everybody, and and everyone sat in the car and went, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Another time was you were driving down the road, and yet those wing windows. That fucking wing window was open, and a bee flew in, hit and bopped you in the forehead. And John Doyle tells me, he went nuts. He goes, you fucking jump out of the car screaming, ah!
Yeah, I pulled off at the center section of Ventura because I couldn't get over to the right, and I just pulled over into the merge lane, or not the merge lane, but the center area, and got out. And I'm like, and Doyle was laughing at me, and that fucking stinger was like right in the center of my head.
Wow.
We were heading over to that chick's house. What the fuck was her name? Remember that chick that had that big giant fucking house?
Right near Michael Jackson's house.
Yeah,
she lived off of like Encino Avenue or something. I remember that girl. Yeah.
Yeah. So Doyle, I think, was dating her, and so we were in my bug, and that's I think when I got hit by the stinger, and we went over to that house, and she lived like in a fucking mansion. And
and you could hear
her beg for money.
I remember going there. We had the big game room. It was like a big pool hall.
They had a theater,
and you could hear Michael Jackson music going on next door. That was because Michael Jackson lived next fucking store or some shit.
Yeah, she was a weird chick. I ran into her probably about 3 years after that and stuff, and she was driving a nice BMW. We pulled over talking, and she says, "Yeah, I just woke up one day and said, fuck it, I'm rich." And was done with the punk scene. She pretended to be a punk.
Yeah, no, I know.
She had all this money. Her parents gave her whatever she wanted, and she used to hitchhike and go to shows and beg for money to get in the shows. It was a weird thing.
Wow. I remember one time we were driving the bug. This is when I was doing the little band Suburban Vigilante. And it's like, I don't know, it's in fucking July, it's in August, and we put my amp in your back of your bug, and my bass or guitar is in there.
Yeah, you
And
guys were playing at
HJ's, the orphanage on like Lancashire.
yeah, it was Lancashire and
that
Victory or Lancashire.
Something
Yeah,
like
that was raining. Didn't that time it was
So
raining?
this, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So we start and we head out, and it starts raining, and when we get to like Tampa and Victory, as you go past that where the hospital was, it was like this huge, I don't know, dip. That, I mean, it's a fucking dip. Well, that thing was filled with 3 feet of water,
Yeah.
and the bugs stalled. The amp and shit's in the back. We're like, the water was coming in through the fucking doors, and we literally hopped out of the doors and pushed it out, and then we couldn't get it started because the distributor must have been fucking wet. So you run back to go call your dad like, oh, we're fucked. And with that, I'm sort of trying to, and I get started.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then fucking, I think I go back and I pick you up when we went and we made it to the show, but I was like, wow, man, fucking A. So they don't float, by the way.
No.
Bugs don't float.
And that show, you remember the band that you guys played with, right?
The Scream.
Yeah,
Or Scream.
Scream, which was Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl joined the Scream after.
Oh,
that.
really? Oh, I didn't realize he was.
Yeah, that was his first band that he played.
Interesting.
And that was one of the shows they played down there. And yeah, I guess it was just called Scream, not The Scream.
Yeah. All right. Well, that works.
Because Dave Grohl's mom corrected me on.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, I ran into.
You know what? It probably
Rouse.
maybe it was the Scream because every band was but then
Yeah.
the fans keep calling it Scream, and then the band themselves will drop it.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those things. So anyway, so that's basically what we're doing here today, guys and gals and pals and everybody else. Keep an ear out for more interviews from JimmyG and JamesGenocide.com. So thank you for showing up
Yeah, thank you.
and telling your story. And we'll probably get back together again and do it again.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't see why not. And that is all, folks. Have a good night, good day, good afternoon.